from Cairo here. My name is Mohammed Abdelmonem. I'm Senior Advisor at the Regional Office for the Near East and North Africa, working on issues related to land and climate change. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Abdelhamid Hamid, who is the Senior Regional Officer for Forests in the region, and also with my colleague here from UNEP, Mr. Abdelmonem Mohammed. And we are very happy to have you here today to work on this very important webinar. In fact, this is the 5th webinar we have on restoration, degraded forest and landscape in the dry land. And in fact, this is one of the webinar series that we're having on landscape restoration. It all come under the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration that we have, as we know. This UN Decade have been launched in 2019. And it calls for protecting and restoring of ecosystem to prevent, halt, and reverse the degraded land. Now we are really working, or we're talking today about very important ecosystem in the Near East and North Africa region, which is a dry land, which is really characterized by water scarcity, low productivity, and also now with climate change is adding another stress to it due to more frequency of drought and less precipitation. And that's why we really want to look at this one, see what is the role of forests can play in the dry land, and how we can share some of the experience in the region that to really make sure that people understand and also benefit from each other. We have today 3 countries. We have from Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt, some of the examples. So with this little introduction, I would like also to welcome my colleague, Mr. Abdelmonem Mohammed, from UNEP West Asia office to provide some few words for opening. Dr. Abdelmonem, please, floor is yours. Mr. Abdelmonem. Okay, fine. Until Mr. Abdelmonem will join us very soon, maybe he has some technical issues. I would like to introduce our colleague from FAO Forestry Division, Mr. Mark Parfondray. He will talk to us about the dry land and forestry and some of the FAO guidelines for dealing with the issues of ecosystem restoration of forestry in the dry land. Mr. Mark, please.
Thank you, Mohammed. And yeah, just let me please share my screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, very much.
So good morning, colleagues, and thank you for the opportunity to present our work. I'm going to give an overview of the global guidelines for the restoration of degraded forest and landscapes in drylands, and then we'll illustrate with concrete examples through the Action Against Desertification project. This presentation was prepared with my colleague Mokhtar Sakande, who is the global coordinator for the project. So back in 2013, FAO was requested by its member countries to conduct a comprehensive analysis and documentation of restoration projects and programs in drylands globally. And the aim was to draw lessons learned from restoration initiatives to inform future projects. So we looked at all types of restoration approaches in different contexts, in different countries, different dryland ecosystems. And the guidelines are the result of this review, and as well as with contributions of many restoration experts, including through several workshops. They were published in 2015, and actually they are still very relevant now more than ever, especially in the context of the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. They include recommendations for restoration practitioners, but also for policymakers. The document is available at the link presented on the screen, also in 5 different languages. So let me take you through some of the content of the guideline. I won't have time to go through, of course, through the whole content, but just let me highlight some of the key findings in terms of recommendations for restoration practitioners. So one of the main finding is the importance of community participation. The review shows that top-down approaches often fail to deliver sustainable results. So it's essential to have communities at the center of the restoration process. Another major finding is the importance of preparing land before restoration, before plantation. And we found that mechanized soil preparation is really a cost-effective way to prepare land at scale and to be able to meet large-scale restoration targets. I will elaborate more on that aspect later. It's essential also to plant the right species at the right place, preferably using local species and using a wide range of restoration plants, including trees, shrubs, but also grasses. The development of restoration value chains also in parallel to restoration and based on the same plants that I used in restoration. The seed issue is a key issue because we need to improve the supply and also the availability of restoration seeds, but also quality restoration seeds. And finally, we need to improve and increase investment in monitoring and assessment in restoration. And this includes also monitoring biophysical and socioeconomic impacts of restoration. So in 2015, FAO started a new project called Action Against Desertification, and this project was designed based on all these principles. This project contributes to the Great Green Wall Initiative, which is a Pan-African initiative aiming to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. And this is in an area that you can see on the map, which goes across Africa from east to west. So through the project, over the years, we've been able to develop a restoration model that is based on mechanized large-scale land preparation before planting. So for this, we use a special plow, which is called the Delfino plow, and it is used to dig half moons deep into the soil. We can, with this type of equipment, we can allow the soil to store 1,000 liters of rainwater in each half moon each year during the rainy season. And we found that the use of the tractor and the plow is really key if we want to go at scale and meet our large-scale restoration targets. On these half moons, then we plant and sow trees and grasses at the start of the rainy season, allowing to maximize the use of water from rainfall. And we only use, as I mentioned earlier in the principle, we only use native species. We use a mix of minimum 10 species per hectare, and that is a way also to maximize resilience. Now, I just want to highlight one of the key also factors of success. The use of grasses in restoration is really allows to harvest fodder for animals within the first year of interventions. And the perspective of having short-term benefits from restoration is really key to engage communities in restoration. On the screen, the photo on the bottom right shows the results within the first year after planting and the grasses that can already be harvested. So I already mentioned the importance of community involvement and participation in restoration. The key point here is that communities are really central in the restoration process. We start by consulting the communities to assess their commitment, their motivation, their needs, and this is done through surveys and group discussions. And really the understanding of communities' preferences in terms of useful species is essential to be able to choose the right species to use in restoration. And this also is a key condition for the motivation and commitment of communities to manage and then to protect the restored areas. And this brings me to this slide, which shows the classification of species by use category defined by the communities. So out of, we had 150 preferred species, most of which are actually multi-purpose species. And the main uses reported by the communities for these plants are medicine, human and veterinarian medicine, as well as food and feed for livestock. So this is just to highlight the diversity of uses and the importance of understanding how plants are used to plan for the right species to use in restoration. And among these species, some have really great market value. And this is why, in parallel to restoration, we've also selected some value chains of non-timber forest products for development. These value chains are based on restoration products. So these are products that are obtained from the same plants used in restoration and can be harvested without needing to cut down trees. And the type of support we provided includes, for example, setting up micro enterprises, training on market analysis and development, business management, how to process the products, and so on. So the photo you can see on the screen are from a women producer organization. This is in Senegal, and we have 160 members, women members in this organization, and the women organize themselves to collect the fruit from the Balanites tree and can then use it to produce oil and soap, which is sold on local markets. So this was really a great success because it allows women to increase and to diversify income sources. So through the project in the past more than 6 years, we've reached a total of 64,000 hectares of degraded land under restoration. And you can see with the photos how the landscape looks after 3 years after planting. We've used about 25 million trees and provided support to 500 communities, which corresponds to about 1 million beneficiaries. So I just go through 2 country examples. The first one is in Sudan. In Sudan, we have 10 villages in Kassala state. 2,770 hectares of land have been restored, which is more than our initial target. The type of activities in Sudan includes mechanized land preparation, enrichment planting, and we have been using species such as Acacia Seyal, Acacia Senegal, and so on. In Mauritania as well, we have 10 villages in Trarza and Mrakna. We have 16 intervention sites. We've restored so far 1,671 hectares out of the same target of 2,000 hectares. The main activities include enrichment planting and also biological and mechanical dune fixation. Due to the landscape, the sand encroachment issue in Senegal. And we've also been planting 250,000 seedlings produced in village nurseries and collected 1.5 tons of restoration seeds. This brings me to my last slide. I just wanted to highlight that Also, in parallel to activities on the ground, we're also working to document lessons learned through these activities. And we've been assessing biophysical and socioeconomic changes from restoration. And these studies have been published in different scientific papers, which are available at the link below. I'll just finish by mentioning a major study that was just recently published, and this is based on the collection of data, including data on land use change, tree cover, restoration potential in the Great Green Wall, and for every country in Africa. The study is called Africa Open Deal, and the full report is available online on the FA website. I'll stop here. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mark. This is really very good presentation, and also provide us with very good example how really things can be done on the ground. Very impressive number of hectares and number of people as beneficiaries, and also involvement of the local communities, and gender issues are really well covered. I like also the idea of having that different way of rainwater harvesting in a way that is really not convenient, not the one we are really using here around in that region, but this one is really very also effective in a way. And I see the value chain also is very well covered, and I thank you very much for that one. We will be for sure in touch with the other group also to benefit from the experience you have done in Africa. Especially, you also provided examples of two countries from the region, which is Sudan and Mauritania, which is very much really relevant to our work, especially on issues related to grazing and animal crop integrating in that ecosystem of the dryland. So thank you very much. I don't know if Mr. Abdelmonem is around, if he will be able to provide a few words from UNEP side, or we'll continue.
Yes, Dr. Muhammad, thank you for giving me the floor, and sorry for the technical issue. I just want to say 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, welcome everyone, and we are glad to work with our partner FAA Regional Office in Cairo to organize this series of webinars. And every time we have a very exciting topic, and this topic today for the dryland ecosystem restoration, I think this is a very important topic for our region specifically. And I enjoyed the first presentation and look forward to the other presentations. So without further ado, back to you, Dr. Muhammad, and all the best for the...
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think we have Mr. Jamil from Tunisia.
نعم.
Can I say a few words about you? In fact, I forgot to say a few words about Mark, but Mr. Jamil Kiliani is the chief engineer and director of Silvio Pastoral Development.
Jamal Kailan.
Jamal what?
Jamal Kailan.
Jamal Kailan. Kailan, okay. He is responsible for the program related to forest development, pastoral development, and aquifers, as well as combating desertification. So, Mr. Jamal, please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
شكرا سيد محمد. تحية لكل المشاركين. أود وكل من عمل على إنجاح هذه الدورة، هي الحقيقة دورة ممتازة، إن شاء الله تكون الدورات هذه كل. كما هو مبرمج، فإن المداخلة تتمحور حول استعادة المنظومات الغابية الرعوية بتونس، وسأقدم لكم اليوم بعض وهي تجربة مهمة بالتعاون مع منظمة إيكاردا. بعض المعطيات عن المنظومات الغابية والرعوية بتونس. المساحة الجملية تبلغ تقريبا 5,700,000 هكتار، وهو يمثل 35% من المساحة الجملية للبلاد التونسية. المساحة كلها كانت تتكون تقريبا موزعة بين مساحات غابية اللي هي تفوق 1,250,000 هكتار، ومراعي اشتراكية التي هي تقريبا 2,800,000 هكتار، إلى جانب الحلفاء 450,000 هكتار، ومراعي خاصة ب1,200,000 هكتار. أهم ما يميز هذه المساحات هو أن 45% من مساحات المراعي هي متواجدة بالمناطق الجافة وشبه الجاف. كذلك هذه المنظومات لها عدة خدمات ومزايا وفوائد، نذكر منها 14% من السكان تعيش تقريبا بالمناطق الغابية، وهذه خصائص المنظومات الغابية يعني متعددة المساكنين. كذلك هذه المنظومات توفر حوالي 40% من الدخل السنوي للأسر الريفية، وتعتمد على الأنشطة التي تقوم بها هذه المنظومات. كذلك توفر ما بين 300 إلى 700 مليون وحدة علفية، وهو يساهم ب 25% من حاجيات القطيع ببلدنا. كذلك سنة 2012 قدرت القيمة الاقتصادية لفوائد المنظومات الغابية والرعوية بحوالي 1,055,000 دينار. في هذا الإطار، في إطار استعادة واستصلاح المستدام للمراعي الغابية ومن أجل تثمين خدمات هذه النظم الإيكولوجية بتونس، كنا انطلقنا سنة 2018، وأقول انطلقنا لأن العمل مستمر إلى يومنا هذا. هو أن في مبادرة بالتعاون بين منظمة إيكاردا والإدارة العامة للغابات لتنفيذ مشروع في هذا الإطار. والمشروع كان الموقع كان بشمال تونس، وهو بمنطقة ولاية زغوان، بمنطقة يسمى بمنطقة شهدة، وهي أهم ما يميزها في المناخ الشبه الجاف. كان الهدف العام هو تحسين سبل العيش في المجتمعات الغابية والرعوية من خلال زيادة مرونة المنظومات ودعم قدرات المجتمعات المحلية على التكيف مع التغيرات المناخية وتحسين دخل المتساكنين والمنتفعين، وبطبيعة الحال الفلاحين بالجهة. كما ترون في أسفل الصورة صورتين. الصورة الأولى وهي تمثل مشهد المساحة الرعوية أو المنظومة الرعوية التي قبل التدخل، وهي تمتد على حوالي 70 هكتار. والصورة الثانية بعد التدخل. أهم ما نراه هو أن تقريبا صفر غطاء نباتي بالمنطقة كان، إلى أن تحول تقريبا بغطاء نباتي بنسبة غطاء نباتي من 80 إلى 90%. كذلك حددت هذه أهداف لهذه المبادرة، وأهم يعني تقريبا حددت بطبيعة الحال، قلت المنهجية لهذا التدخل ولبلوغ الأهداف. المنهجية كانت تعتمد على المقاربة التشاركية بين كل الأطراف، وهي مشاركة كل المتدخلين، يعني من متساكنين ومنتفعين وإدارات ومؤسسات وسلطات محلية. كذلك اعتمدت، وهذا الخاصية مهمة جدا، أن اعتمدت على تنفيذ مبدأ التكنولوجيا المختارة، ما يسمى بالانجلش selected problem technology، والتي تهدف بالأساس إلى التنمية المستدامة للنظم الغابية الرعوية مع التركيز على التكيف مع تغير المناخ، وعبر اختيار خاصة الأصناف التي تتأقلم أكثر مع المناخ ومع الظروف الجهة والموقع، وكذلك اختيار طريقة التدخل إلى آخره. كذلك النقطة هامة ونعتمد عليها وهو تعزيز قدرات كل الأطراف المتدخلة في هذه التدخلات والتنفيذ. كانت المنهجية الحقيقة تدخل مندمج لذكر أن أهم تدخل ربما كان هو زراعة السلة لدعم الإمكانيات الرعوية، وهو ما أشرت إليه سابقا في انتقال من الغطاء النباتي صفر الغطاء النباتي الى تقريبا 9% من الغطاء النباتي. كذلك تمت دراسه الشجيرات العلفيه مثل القطف الاسترالي خاصه. كذلك درست الاشجار متعدده الفوائد وهو اشجار الخروب. كذلك تم ترتيب دورات تكوينيه ولقاءات وتحسيسيه مع المنتفعين والفلاحه كذلك مع ساهمت بتوعيتهم ودعمهم وتمكينهم من العديد من التقنيات في زراعه السله خاصه. كذلك تم تنفيذ حملات تحسيسيه مع اطفال المدرسه بالجيران لان المدرسه قريبه من الجهه، وكانت الحقيقه تجربه مهمه جدا في دفع وتكوين التلاميذ ودعمهم ودفعهم للعنايه كيفيه دراسه الشجره والعنايه بها. كذلك تدخل كان مهام هو استصلاح مجاري الاوديه، وذلك في اطار مقاومه الانجراف خاصه الانجراف المائي في هذا المجال. هذا اهم تقريبا التدخلات الهامه بالجهه. كانت اهم النتائج تقريبا هو تم زياده الكتله الحيويه تقريبا ب10 اضعاف، وكان تقليل تكلفه التغذيه بنسبه 70% لدى المربين. كذلك تم بلوغ نسبه نجاح التسجيل لاكثر من 80%، ونحن في مناخ شبه جاف في قله الامطار تقريبا 150 الى 200 ملم، ولكن بفضل المجهودات تم هذا النجاح. كذلك تم تقليل تآكل التربه بحوالي 5 طن للكيلومتر المربع في السنه، مع تخزين ما لا يقل عن 280 متر مكعب من المياه، وهذا ما سبب به من خلال التدخلات لاستصلاح مجاري الاوديه في المجال هذا. كذلك تم تقليل نسبه ضياع مياه سيلاني سطحي لحوالي 800 متر مكعب بالهكتار. وكان زاد تدخل هام وهو تنميه القدرات لحوالي 500 متدرب بالجهه بمختلف المواضيع، خاصه في الممارسات الزراعيه للمراعي. هذه البلوغ هذه المنهجيه والمشروع كانت الحقيقه عده عوامل، وكذلك ما نذكره هو تم من خلال العام المهم هو تم تشريك مختلف المتدخلين والمنتفعين والتعاون بين كل المؤسسات الذي ساهم في تبادل المعارف وتحسن الكفاءات وتبسيط الاجراءات، وكان هذا العمل التشاركي مهم جدا. كذلك كان تعهد طويل المدى للجهات الفاعله وضمان استثمارات طويله الاجل من طرف وكاله التمويل، وهذا كذلك التعهد هو نوع الدؤوب في المقاربه التشاركيه والتشريك في اتخاذ القرار والتخطيط والتنفيذ. كذلك المناخ التشريعي والترتيبي كان ملائم وداعم على المستوى الوطني والجهوي، وما زلنا نشتغل على خلق اكثر مناخ في المجال هذا. كذلك استخدام الممارسات والمعرفه المحليه في خطه التنفيذ، وهذا كان خطه ومنهجيه ناجحه جدا في تثمين المعارف واستخدامها، خاصه ان تزخر بعديد من المعارف على المستوى الجهوي. كذلك اعتماد تدخل خاص لكل موقع، عفوا الموقع عوضا عن الفاء فهي قاف، من المنظومات الغابيه والرعويه المتدهوره، او بالمنظومات الغابيه والرعويه المتدهوره، حيث لا توجد قاعده واحده يمكن تطبيقها في كل مكان. هذا لان الاهم كذلك الخطوات اللي قمنا به الان وهي من 2019 الى يومنا هذا هو ان العمل ونعمل الان على التوسع في هذه المساحات وكذلك في الجهات، ونحن الان بصدد الاشتغال على منطقه كذلك بشمال تونس وهي منطقه منوبه في مناخ كذلك شبه جاف وبنفس بنفس المنهجيه، ولكن بطبيعه الحال مراعاه الظروف الطبيعيه والتعامل مع المساكنين. وهذه صوره عن الفريق العمل الذي ساهم في تنفيذ هذا المشروع والى يومنا هذا ما زلنا بنفس الفريق ان شاء الله، وبكل المبادرات والمبادرين في انجاح هذه التجربه. وبارك الله فيكم، شكرا على الاستماع.
شكرا جزيلا سيد جمال كعيلان على المحاضرة القيمة والتعاون الوثيق مع منظمة الإيكاردا. نموذج جيد جدا للعمل على مستوى المجتمعات المحلية وأرقام مبهرة، يعني باستعمال التكنولوجيا المختارة والتكيف مع تغير المناخ، والنتائج التي تحققت كمان نتائج يعني مشجعة جدا على أن يكون هذا نموذج يحتذى به. فإذا كان تقليل تآكل التربة بحوالي 5 طن في الكيلومتر المربع، حصاد المياه بحوالي 800 متر مكعب للهكتار، تنمية القدرات، هذه كلها نتائج طيبة، وهذا يعني ما يجب أن يكون عليه العمل على الأرض. وطبعا عوامل النجاح اللي حضرتك ذكرتها هي عوامل يعني تساهم في نجاح أي مبادرة، وهي أهمها طبعا تشريك المتداخلين والمناخ التشريعي المناسب وتعاون مع المجتمعات المحلية. شكرا جزيلا لحضرتك. Now we will go to the second presentation by Mr. السيد عبد الرحمن آيت الحاج. And I will have few words about him also. He's an agronomist. He joined the National Agency for Development of Oasis Zones and Argon Trees in 2013. He also responsible for the development of an implementation of the National Argon Center project developed by ANDZOA. From 2003 to 2013, he worked at the Agricultural Research Center in the National Institute of Agronomic Research at the Regional Director of Agronomic Research in Agadir. Mr. Abdurrahman, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
شكرا. السلام عليكم. So it's my pleasure to be with you to share some of our experience related to landscape, male agricultural landscape restoration. So I will share my presentation. Do you see my presentation now?
Not yet, it is coming, I think. It said double click on to enter full screen mode.
It's not coming.
I can try sharing the presentation if it's easier.
Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Can you please stop sharing?
Yeah, I think it's my...
So, Mr. Abdurrahman, you can just stop sharing, and Theodora will share from her computer.
Oh. Nothing is working anymore in my computer. So you can't stop my share?
I did.
Okay, now it's okay. Now we can see.
But I can't see my presentation.
I have shared it, so maybe you can start.
No, I just can't Okay, it's coming now. Okay, let me try. Let me try again to share my presentation, okay?
Okay, good. It's coming.
If you can go please down on the right side, there is like glass. You can click on that.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's good. Now it's very good. Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead, Mr. Rahman.
Sorry for the...
No problem.
So my presentation that I want to share with you is about the Argan forest. However, it's kind of a different approach to do something for what is experienced in that forest, which is of high importance for Morocco. It's a forest of Argania spinosa, which is an endemic species to Morocco, that you know, which is of great interest, economic interest, because of its multiple uses as a commodity for the people who are producing the argan oil from it. But also what is specific for this forest is they are practicing agriculture within the forest, either on agricultural terraces in the slopy lands or in the plains. And also there is very important animal production within that forest. So it's kind of agro-silvopastoral system, which is important for us as a corridor against the desertification, because the southern part of Morocco is very desertic, and it's our natural corridor against desertification. And it's known for its diversity, either biodiversity or agricultural biodiversity, and diversity of farming systems, because of the diversity of the croppings and the practices within that system. And it's around 830,000 hectares, with at least more than 300,000 households living in the rural areas of this part. It was recognized as a biosphere reserve since 1999 and as a GIAS by FAO in 2018. So it's very important ecosystem for us, which is facing serious challenges, mainly drought, water scarcity, and erratic rainfall, which lead in some cases to serious soil degradation, and mainly in the mountains where the agricultural terraces are falling down, are degraded because people did abandon the agriculture and maintaining those terraces, and they don't anymore practice any barley or any crop production. That was the reason why they were maintaining the terraces. So we are experiencing serious soil losses. So when we combine those two challenges related to the degradation of the forest land, natural forest, and the degradation of the agricultural land, which is in many cases within the forest, we had to think of options to restore this area, where we should integrate the restoration of the forest land, but also of the agricultural land, mainly the agricultural terraces. That's why we had kind of a combination between forest restoration and agricultural landscape rehabilitation and restoration. The Forestry Department is doing a lot of actions for forest restoration. And we as agency with the other agencies of the Ministry of Agriculture, we are trying to refarm the agricultural land on terraces by planting argan tree, which is a forest tree, in private land as orchards. It's kind of a domestication of this species with different farming options. Argan as the only tree planted, or in alley cropping with mainly medicinal and aromatic plants issued from the area, from the ecosystem, with the objective of refarming the abandoned agricultural land, alleviating the anthropic pressure on the natural forest, and also improving carbon sequestration and improving community resilience. That was a project co-funded with the Green Climate Fund in 2016, which aims to plant 10,000 hectares of argan orchards. To date, we already planted 8,000 hectares in different areas of the argan biosphere, which is going north from Essaouira, kind of more arid climate, to Gilmim, which is more desertic climate. It's kind of diversity of climatic zones. This project will be implemented by 5,000 households as beneficiaries, with more than 26,000 indirect beneficiaries. The 10,000 hectares is also within which we have also 2,000 hectares as alley cropping, which is argan trees plus aromatic and medicinal plants like copper, thyme, and other species from the ecosystem. This project was implemented in 50 sites in the whole area of the argan forest in 8 provinces, as I said, from different climatic areas and climatic conditions. And to do that, we had to adapt all the cultivation techniques to this new species, which is issued from the forest. We had to work and to put a process to select better trees, productive trees from the forest, and give them to nurseries to produce seedlings that will be used to plant the 10,000 hectares. We had also to practice some supplementary irrigation. And in other cases, we used mulching, either stone mulching or any other organic material mulching. And also the alley cropping, which is a new technique, combining argan with other annual crops like pepper, thyme, or in some other cases, barley. This all is to improve the soil protection, improve carbon sequestration, and also and mainly improve the return from per hectare for the community who are abandoning, in some cases, in some communes in this area. Since the last 20 years, we lost more than 60% of the inhabitants in some villages. So it's a kind of a serious issue. So we should bring this farming system, which will improve the natural conditions, but also give better return and income options for the communities to keep protecting and managing the soils. To do so, it was a kind of participatory approach where the communities are involved through more than 50 organizations and NGOs who are representing them. We are involving also different research institutions and different other sectoral institutions to implement this project. So as main result, we already had 8,000 hectares planted in different areas, 2,000 hectares of medicinal and aromatic plants in 50 sites. As you can see in these pictures, which are issued from different environment of the Argan area. This is the kind of a northern part of it near Essaouira, and this in the middle part near Agadir, and this is in southern part near Gelmim. And we are using different techniques for water harvesting and also to improve water protection and management. Just to share with you what are the expected outcomes of this project. The main one is that we're bringing the return per hectare, the income per hectare for the households from around $150 per hectare in the better cases with barley to more than $400 per hectare when you plant only Argan trees. When we combine them with other crops as the medicinal and aromatic plants, it goes for $2 plus $400 to $500 as income, which is very, very important income. As a matter of carbon sequestration, we are expecting to sequester around 600,000 ton equivalent CO2, and increasing the jobs created for the community. This is counting only the jobs that will be created to process the Argan fruit to produce Argan oil. And for the fruit production of Argan, as people are already collecting fruit from the natural forest, will be increasing twice the fruit production as with what was planted per household as organic culture. So this is what I want to share with you as a matter of how to succeed in that. As I said, it's a kind of a participatory approach that should combine the communities, research institutions that we still need to learn how to better manage Argan production in orchards, and with other sectoral institutions as water managing institutions, soil management, communities, researchers to better implement this kind of projects. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdurrahman. I think this is very impressive presentation, very good experience. Thank you for sharing this with us, showing also the importance of this very valuable tree in Morocco, also sharing with us the challenges of drought, soil degradation, biodiversity losses, and how this project really helps to really kind of address these kind of challenges. And for sure, the key reason for success of such initiatives is the participatory approach of the local communities, NGOs, and with this huge number of people, you are really having it. Adaptive cultivation techniques also, mulching, supplementary irrigation, others also helped a lot. But me as an agronomist, I need to ask you a question quickly, just to clear for myself, comparing the economic return of the barley to the economic return of argon, $150 to 400. I think this is very good to really move from that to the barley to the tree. But I don't know really if there is, I'm sure there is kind of studies have been done about the importance of barley for the local communities themselves. Because I'm sure these people will need it for their animals, for their bread, for their daily life. And I don't know if the argon will help in that one, or you are considering having a mixture of both the barley and the argon at the same time, because in terms of economic, it's very clear the positive, the significant increase in income, but yet the livelihood in this for the local communities in this very far away isolated areas in Morocco. I don't know how you manage that. Sorry to come quickly to you.
No, it's a very, very interesting and important question. I think barley, it's very important in dry areas as fodder or even for food. But in these areas, as you did see in all the landscapes I was talking about, it's mountainous areas. And there is a kind of a cost-benefit ratio issue in these areas. The cost of producing barley on those agricultural tests is very, very high. In the best years, we don't go beyond 0.5 tons per hectare, the best years. And it costs a lot compared to the barley cost in the market, which is really, really cheap. So what happened, what was the impact of this? People did abandon the agriculture in those terraces because you don't have any more attraction animals, because you can't use mechanization in these areas. So they abandoned that because it's costly, it needs a lot of work, and it's cheap in the market. When they abandoned the plantation of barley, they went grazing their animals in the natural forest of argan, because animals do graze on the argan tree. And this, what happened is that generated serious degradation of the argan tree in the natural forest. So you see the loop here. We thought that one of the best ways to stop this vicious circle is to provide more income to people through planting argan trees in the agricultural land where they were planting barley, that will allow them to have more income to buy what they need as fodder for their animals, so we can alleviate the pressure on the natural forest. It's a challenging proposal, but I think we already see some beginning of impact and behavior of those people to really go and sell the aromatic plants and buy barley to feed their animals, and to alleviate the pressure on the argan forest. So the beneficiaries to have their land planted with argan by the government, they sign an agreement to go through a learning and capacity development process to better manage the forest. So they don't graze that much on the forest. So it's kind of combination of using this supplementary income from argan and from medicinal and aromatic plants to buy what they need for their animals in the market.
Thank you very much for this answer. It's really add value to the presentation itself. Thank you very much. So now we will have Mr. Ashraf Sadiq from Egypt to provide the presentation. Dr. Ashraf, he is an agronomist and currently serving as the Chief Technical Advisor in FAO Egypt. He participated in several international regional projects, both as researcher and project coordinator in the field of crop production under dry conditions. So, Mr. Ashraf, the floor is yours. Sorry, the time is running short, so we will count on you to cut it down a little bit.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Dr. Abdelmenem, for giving me this opportunity to present this case study. So the title of this presentation is The Rehabilitation of Degraded Drylands, the case study of Wadi Kharrouba in Marsa Matruh, Egypt. So this activity was actually part of the MarsDev project that took place during the period from 2014 to 2016. The project was funded by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and executed by the Desert Research Center in Marsa Matruh and Siam Bari as the Italian side. Just a brief introduction about Matruh Governorate. Matruh is located at the northwestern coast of Egypt along the Mediterranean Sea. Most of the population of Matruh Governorate is from Bedouin, and it was estimated by the households of the Bedouin people was estimated by 22,000 households in 2013. According to the source of water, Matruh Governorate can be divided to three sections. First section is using the River Nile, source of water beside the precipitation as a supplementary irrigation, and the second section is using is a rainfed agriculture based on the precipitation, and the third part is to the south of the governorate, which is the CYYCs, which is mainly uses the groundwater as the only source of irrigation. So for the rainfed part of Matruh Governorate, as I said, that it's mainly depends on rainfall. And the annual rainfall falling on this area is around 140 millimeter. Actually, these two figures shows the spatial and the temporal distribution of the rainfall over the entire area. The area along the coast has almost 218 watersheds. So as we know that wadi is the Arabic term of the watershed. So there are 218 wadis along the coast. So most of these wadis actually are running from south to north. Most of them they just drain to the sea, and we lose most of the water and the fertile soil from the surface. The case study, it was Wadi Al Kharruba. It's one of these 218 wadis. It is directly to the west of the city of Marsa Matruh. Actually, the project intervention was at one of these subcatchments of the Wadi Al Kharruba. And the area of the subcatchment was almost 6 square kilometers. This is how it looks, the wadi before the work starts. So these three pictures actually tell you how much soil we are losing from the surface layer, which is very fertile. You can see how these rangeland plants are scattered everywhere, and so this is also two pictures also showing also how the wadi looks before the intervention starts, and how deep actually the soil that is lost because of the floods. Actually, this slide explains the steps that is followed to start development or rehabilitating the wadi. But before this step, there also the project team sit with all the stakeholders, with also the owner of this wadi, and there are several agreements that should be signed with the beneficiaries and with the wadi stakeholders, because each of these wadi are owned by several families. It's not just only one family. So also some social issues should be considered during the construction of these dikes. So simply this water harvesting system, it's called in-stream bed water harvesting systems. So it's simply the construction of a series of dikes along the main bed of the watershed. And the main idea is just to retain the water in front of these dikes, and also creating a very deep soil to be suitable for the cultivation of trees. So these, as I mentioned, these are the steps of the construction of these dikes along the wadi. Two issues here should be considered is the both sides of the mainstream, actually, because this area is vulnerable to the soil erosion as well. And so the project started to thinking about fixing the sides of the main channel of the wadi, and also establishing a system for water harvesting to be used for supplementary irrigation during the summer season, where there is no rainfall during the summer. So for establishing the sides of the wadi, the idea here is using the half moon water harvesting systems to be cultivated with either native shrubs to be used for grazing animals in the area, or to be planted with some market value plants, for example, moringa. So these photos shows the process of the establishment of these half moon on both sides of the main channel of the wadi. Here it shows the reservoir with a capacity of around 200 cubic meter to be used for the collection of rainwater. Then the natural gravity is used for pumping the water to the irrigation network in the wadi itself. Also, the amount of water, I mean, the water budget was monitored using many devices. So the first one that is in the upper left is for measuring the stream flow. So it was installed at the outlet of the watershed. So it has been used for monitoring the stream flow. Also, here the installation of the pipes in the soil profile to monitor also the water in the soil profile itself. And to the right, there is a climate station to calculate or to measure the rainfall. So the main idea here is to calculate how much water is falling, how much water is stored in the soil, and how much water is coming out from the watershed. So this is that was the first event after the construction of these dikes along the wadi. So we can see here how the wadi now can retain the water to be used by plants. Also, this is a general view of the half moon on both sides of the wadi, and we can see also that part was cultivated by fig. So mainly, also this is a general view of the wadi after the construction of these cemented dikes along the main channel, and the other photo showing the water also bonding on the main channel of the wadi. Actually, this system also for the construction of these dikes, the natural products are used for the construction. So it's some sort of generating job opportunities for especially for the young people, for the local community. So the excess water is controlled by central spillways. So each dike is having a spillway. I mean, it is used for draining the excess water, because as I mentioned at the beginning, that each wadi is mainly owned by many families. So just to ensure the fair sharing of water among the families owning the wadi. So the wadi bed is mainly cultivated with either fig, olive, or grapes. So these are the main trees that are used for to be cultivated in the bed of the wadi. Some farmers actually usually grow some cash crops, waiting for the trees to start producing. For example, of these crops are the watermelon. This is how it looks. I mean, the wadi with the fig trees and filled with water that has been harvested by the dikes. Also, these dikes, from time to time needs to be rehabilitated because of the sedimentation process. So the main output of this activity was the rehabilitation of 3 kilometers of
Seems we lost Ashraf someplace.
Sorry for that.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And also you have 2 minutes to finish, please.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
almost there.
Thank you.
So. Yeah, so the main outputs of this activity was the rehabilitation of 3 kilometers of the wadi, 20 hectares of land reclaimed and made highly productive. There were 63 family farmers beneficiaries, 650 members of beneficiaries, and there was 75,000 cubic meter of rainwater was stored. So what is next? Actually, there is another project funded by the European Union under the BRIMA program. Will continue with the work. I mean, in this wadi, and also repeat this success stories in neighboring wadis. So the DRC suggested Wadi Al Safa, which is pretty close to Wadi Al Kharuba, to repeat the same technologies used for Wadi Al Kharuba. This project for Wadi Al Kharuba has forming working packages, technological management, and monitoring options for land resilience, using the water harvesting techniques, and modeling for the assessment improvement, and the living lab for nature-based solutions, and the sustainable business opportunities. And that's it. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ashraf. This is a very good presentation. Also provide a different way of really rehabilitating some of the degraded areas, and how is really the catchment of Wadi Al Kharuba was really rehabilitating, stop the losses of land due to erosion, water harvesting, and it became totally different area after that. And again, the key word here is the participatory approach of the local communities and their work on that one. So well, thank you very much for that. Sorry, we are getting a little bit, we have been using extra time here. But we still have some ways to have some questions. If you have some questions from the floor, please go ahead and ask, and we will also try to answer them. My colleagues who presented, they can answer them. So just please raise your hand, and then we will let you speak. Okay, so this is Safa Olwi. So please, Safa, just tell us who you are, from where, and ask your question directly. Go ahead, unmute yourself, please. We cannot hear you. Okay, if someone else wants to ask questions, let's go ahead until Safa fix her microphone. Abdullah El-Hindi, please, Mr. Abdullah, go ahead.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
معك دكتور عبد الله ناصر الهندي من اليمن عدن. أنا أشكركم على تنظيم مثل هذه الندوات القيمة والشيقة، كما أتقدم بالشكر لكل المحاضرين الذين قدموا العروض التقديمية الخاصة بهم. كنت أناقش السيد مارك على بعض القضايا ورد في ال Q and answer، ولدي فقط سؤال للدكتور أشرف على وادي تقريبا وادي النطرون في مصر. يعني تجربة الخروبة
أيوه.
النطرون في الأردن تقريبا ولا
في مصر. اوكي.
تجربة شيقة صراحة ومبهرة، لكن أود أن أسأل، هل هذه هي التجربة الوحيدة فقط في جمهورية مصر العربية، أم هناك تجارب مماثلة لها في وديان أخرى؟ وشكرا.
نعم، شكرا دكتور عبد الله. مستر أشرف، ممكن تجاوب بسرعة؟ أشرف. Okay. Do we have another question?
بالنسبة لي شكرا فقط.
Okay. Ashraf, unmute yourself and answer Dr. Abdullah, please.
Okay, sorry for that. So I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
The question is asking هل في مشاريع تانية زي المشروع دوت في مصر ولا ده المشروع الوحيد؟
No, there are several projects, similar to that one. So there is already a project funded by IFAD now is taking place in the area for the rehabilitation of almost 50 kilometers of wadis in this area. So this activity of the rehabilitation of these wadis is taking place like from the 17th or something. FAO funded some projects there, ICARDA, ACSAD, and several donors actually working in the area.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Still, Safa is trying to speak. I don't know what happened. But anyway.
Mohammed, in the meantime, maybe Mr. Abdelrahman can reply quickly to a couple of questions that came to the chat.
Please go ahead and read them, and he will answer. Yeah.
So one question is about argan commercialization and how can farmers benefit without intermediate people. And a couple of participants asked how to use other plants other than argan to increase biodiversity and support livelihoods. So if Mr. Abdulrahman can reply, that would be great.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very much. Go ahead.
Thank you. So for the how people can benefit from the argan, one of the main projects that our agency is implementing is kind of professionally organizing the producers of argan oil, who are the households owning and collecting the argan fruit from the natural forest. And I think it's a good process. We already have more than 800 women cooperative who are processing the argan oil and selling it in the market, either national or international markets. The intermediaries actually are still operating more in the fruit market, not in the oil, mainly not in the oil market, but in the fruit market. And there is another project to implement facilities for the argan fruit producers to collect and kind of manage or organize the fruit markets. And the government is helping them to have cooperatives for only fruit collection and marketing. So it's a big challenge, but we started working on that. And within the same project with the Green Climate Fund, we'll be building some facilities for fruit management and marketing. For the second question, you know, we're operating in a very dry area. We're talking about around in an average of 200 millimeters per year. And these last 3 years, it was less than 80 millimeters. It's very, very dry. And argan species is one of the best species adapted and that can support such droughts. And it produces the high value fruits from which we can extract the argan oil, which is a very, very expensive edible or cosmetic oil. That's why we choose. For example, in the Essaouira area where we have more than 250 millimeters in average, there is other species that people are planting, either cactus pears or in other places, almonds. There is other species. But in the degraded areas we are targeting with the project, we think that argan is the best species that can support such climatic conditions, shallow, very, very shallow soils, and it doesn't need that much technical management to produce.
Very good. Thank you very much, Dr. Abdulrahman. I think we are exceeding the time allocated for us. So I will just wanted to thank everyone for this very productive webinar today. I would like to thank my colleague from UNEP, Dr. Abdul Manan Mohammed, and also my colleague from FAO, Mr. Mark Bardfondry, and the three representatives from the three countries in Tunisia and Morocco and Egypt, Mr. Jamil Kilian and Mr. Abdulrahman Ayat Al-Haj and Dr. Ashraf Al-Sadiq. And I'd like to thank you very much for your participation. And for sure, we will announce the next webinar and keep you informed. Thank you very much, and you have a good day.